Now, the best of the best contractors, specifically general contractors, they understand that subcontractors are being asked to finance a job. They understand that the subcontractor is going to need financing. Most importantly, focus on performance, but communicate what you need in order to be successful, and don't be bashful and shy about it. Empower yourself to understand this is what you need to do. You've got to get yourself in a spot to be most successful, no matter where you are in the journey. Welcome to the next episode of the Construction MF'ers podcast. I am Scott Peper, your CEO and founder of Mobilization Funding, and today we are going to discuss the double standards that are in construction. Yep, I'm going to get after it. That's what we're going to talk about. They are there, they exist, and those double standards can be modified and addressed with a couple little tweaks from you. So what do I mean by double standards? How do they impact us? What does it look like when you're on a construction project and the double standard comes? I'm not talking about social double standards or the political environment. No, I'm talking about just pure, outright double standards. And specifically as it relates to general contractors and subcontractors. Because not against each other, I'm talking about what they have to live with. So let's kick this off. Let's start with the biggest one, payment terms. If I'm the bank, and the project owner or developer comes to me and I'm going to give them a loan, I'm going to require a couple things first. One, I'm going to require they put money up first before I put money up. I'm going to make sure that they actually do work before I pay them. And I'm going to make sure that when I verify all that work and get all that stuff done, that I'm going to pay them basically when I want, under the terms I want to. Well, let's flow that downhill now. Let's start with a subcontractor. So I'm a subcontractor. I want to start the work. I have to buy materials. I have to get items out. I have to do all those things. I could ask for money up front, just like the bank does, but I'm not going to get it. I could ask for certain terms to be paid that are aligned to when I have to actually pay them, but I'm not going to get it. Now, on the same token, the owner or the developer on a project, they are clearly getting financing for the job because it's expensive to execute work and build a building or build a project, no doubt. The general contractor is going to be required to also get financing because they have to float items and cost. Now, some of their financing might be bank financing, it might be the form of lines of credit, it might be owner's equity, or it might be that they could go do all the work on their own and hire all the folks, but they're going to actually hire subcontractors, and they're going to utilize some of those subcontractors just to help them finance their scopes of work that they're contracted with the owner to do. But now the sub, they don't get to get financing. If they got financing, they're going to be looked at as weak, or they're going to be looked at as if they need help to do this job and they're not flush, then I don't want to hire them. Those are some of the double standards that exist. Now, the best of the best contractors, specifically general contractors, they understand that subcontractors are being asked to finance a job. They understand that the subcontractor is going to need financing. They also understand that the subcontractor is going to need specific terms. And the best of the best GCs reach out to those subs, ask for them, make them feel comfortable, help them understand that they know that it's okay, and how can I best help you execute the job, because all I really care about is the performance and I want to make sure you're successful. However, that is not the norm in construction. Most times, the subcontractor is going to be made to feel, sometimes on their own because of their own problems, and they think of this on their own versus being justified. And sometimes it's on the general contractor. Their thought to the sub needs to be flush with cash. They need to have their own financing that is not going to impede the project in any way. The fact that their project itself is a very valuable asset, but then we're not going to let you utilize any of that. Even if you actually do the work and I approve the work, I'm still not going to let you use that asset of money I owe you to help you finance the job, even though I know you have to pay costs that are allocated to this specific job that you've already paid for, or labor or equipment or material that's already on the job and project or installed. There's the double standard. So how can we mitigate some of these? The first way to mitigate these, I think, is let's call them out. Let's just say, hey, the reason I'm an awesome contractor and the reason I can do great work and the reason why you just hired me is because I also have all of the capabilities to execute the work. That includes great labor, includes access to suppliers and vendors, it includes knowledge and know-how. And guess what? It also includes a financing partner. Now, maybe that financing is self-financing inside the business, and that's great. That shows tremendous discipline on the commercial contractor, their ability to do work, earn profit, keep it in the business. They might have bank lines of credit. They might have alternative sources of financing, whether it's material financing or something like mobilization funding. Maybe they have a factoring company. Either way, they've been able to prove their performance capabilities utilizing financing. And there should not be shame in bringing that up. It should be led with and talked about and discussed that, hey, financing this job is a huge piece of the puzzle. It's why I'm successful. Just like I have a great labor force, it's why I'm successful. You need those components. So if you're afraid to talk about them, afraid to lean in on them, that's a key sign that something's probably an error on your part, not necessarily the double standard. Now, if you do lean in on that, and then you're working for a contractor who makes you feel shameful to have financing, or you're less than, or you're not good enough, or you shouldn't have that, or you're not, quote unquote, a flush contractor, then I'm going to hire someone else. And if you can't finance this job on your own without any help from me, or any needs from me, or any requirements or things you might need with your financing partner, maybe you need to think twice about who you're going to work with, because that's probably someone that's going to be tough to work with. That's someone that when things occur, those problems occur, they're probably going to shove them down to you. And why do I say that? If you're a general contractor and you think that every subcontractor is flush with cash, or you don't care that they're financing your project, and you don't care that the realization that they're actually bringing something to you and bringing it up as a real need for a part of the job, just like the labor force is, then you're probably going to find yourself in tough spots with subcontractors very often. And subcontractors, when you're working with GCs like that, you need to be careful, because those are the ones that are, when a problem does occur, they're not going to probably be out to help you very much. So how do these double standards end up causing pain? Well, in the last scenario I just described, where you have a subcontractor who needs financing, they bring it up to their general contractor, they were hired by that general contractor to do good work, but the general contractor doesn't want to be helpful. Maybe it's sign forms, maybe if it's approve invoices, maybe it's help them with the supplier talking to their credit terms, just anything to help them get what they need to help finance the project from the time they're starting it till the time they're paid. What can occur? Well, the things that can occur are the financial pain and strain of doing that. Now, if they go out and get financing, because let's just face the facts, if you need financing to execute a job and you actually figure out and you start executing the job, just because the problem went away to the general contractor doesn't mean that they didn't get financing. Now, here's the real problem. They probably got financing that isn't helpful to them, which ultimately is not going to be helpful to you, the contract, the project, etc. That financing might have different terms. It might come at a higher cost. It might come as pain to the construction subcontractor. And so what's critical there is that need for cash, now the financial strain and burden of paying for that cash, like a merchant cash advance, for example, where now that they've got the money, but now they're making payments weekly or daily. All that happened there is the problem went away for this month, but next month, or more importantly, even probably 2 months later, that problem is going to be even bigger and even more of a problem. Now, maybe the project's gone and done at that point. Maybe you're in the middle of the project. Either way, it's going to impact you, because now you have a construction subcontractor that's not able to do the work that they were able to do before, or maybe they're in an impaired state and not able to do the volume of work they were going to do before. Either way, you're going to lose by hurting the construction contractor, especially the sub. So now, construction subcontractors, how can you help fix these problems internally yourself? First things are, we need to build effective communication strategies. What do I mean by that? One, I think you just need to get comfortable talking about the things that you're uncomfortable talking about. And that includes the finances. Listen, if you lean into a job and say, look, I can do this job, but I'm going to have a finance partner. And the reason I have a finance partner is because of the terms. And you say, look, here's what I need. I need you to approve these invoices. When they approve, I need you to be able to email somebody about them. I need you to sign this form, because I need to make sure that I can get this money when it's paid to me into a project-related account. Maybe it's a project with a bond on it. Whatever it is, it's going to be some type of requirement between you and your general contractor partner. You need to lean into that and be comfortable with it and show, hey, here's what I need to be successful. Now, the general contractor may push back, and that's okay. And you may say to them, okay, great, well, that's not a problem then. If you want to pay me every 2 weeks instead of every 30 or 45 days, or paid when paid, then I don't need the finance partner and I can work around that. That's not an issue at all. If you allow, okay, maybe I can be paid every 30 days, but I need you to let me invoice you every 2 weeks so I need to get the cash flow turning faster. You're giving them an either or scenario, not a no and a can't. You're saying, okay, here's what I need under these terms, but if not, then these are the terms that I need. Most importantly, focus on performance, but communicate what you need in order to be successful, and don't be bashful and shy about it. All right, next thing you can do, build a network of support. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start first with your accounting relationship. Let's get great access to information inside your business. I'm talking about cash flows on projects. I'm talking about financials. I'm talking about where your cash is, how much cash you have, when you're generating cash, how you're going to use your cash. Build that financial infrastructure with your accounting team so that you can have the best information possible. And trust me, I see it every single day in our business and mobilization funding. Despite how smart or unsmart or financially sophisticated or not that a certain contractor might think they are, when we give them the information, they all make great decisions with good information. Let me rephrase that. They might not make always the great decision or the right decision, but when they have the right information, they know what decision to make and they know what's right and what's wrong. Most often, bad decisions are made because of the lack of information, not because they had all the great information up front, in time, and ready to be seen when they needed it, and then made a bad choice. They typically are making bad choices when there's no information and there's a void of information. So start with your accounting team, get with your accountants, build a great financial infrastructure of your business so you know where your cash is, when your cash is coming, and you have financial reports and cash reports that you can use to execute and manage your business decisions. Next, have a good lawyer. Get a legal review. Spend an hour of your attorney's time giving them your contracts up front, telling them what you understand the contract to be, telling them how you need to practically execute that work, and make sure there's not some kind of terms in there that are going to prohibit you or inhibit you from being able to do that. Make sure you can negotiate some of the items that are not going to be suited for you if something is about to happen or something bad is going to happen, that you give yourself some options in there to mitigate around. You need a construction attorney and you need a construction accountant. If you're doing construction, you need someone that focuses on your industry so you can leverage the information, the knowledge, and the experience they have across all of their many customers and stories and experiences they've seen to help you avoid problems. So don't hire your friends or your family that happen to be accountants or got their CPA license or graduated from the bar. You need a good construction accountant and a construction attorney that you can utilize. It's much cheaper to spend an hour or two of your attorney's time up front reviewing your contract and getting the right red lines in place than it would be for you to spend time afterwards when there's a problem. So build your network. Next, start talking to lenders before you ever need them. Whether it's private lenders, whether it's figuring out how to save your cash inside your business, whether it's a factoring company, your bank. Build these relationships up front and early. Find out what's out there. See what new things are out there. Talk to the credit managers at your material supplier houses. Talk to all of the different places and build relationships with them. Cultivate your network so that when you have these things as you grow your business or when you run into problems, they're not meeting you for the first time when there's a problem. They're meeting you, they know you, they understand you, they know what you're trying to accomplish. And so if a problem occurs, or better yet, a great opportunity comes your way, you have the option and ability to be able to go to them and say, hey, look, this is what we talked about. This is what I need. Can you help me? And you're building those relationships and that trust early on, not just from conversations, but you're giving them work to do. You're paying your bills on time. You're communicating where you're going and what you're trying to do and showing them along the way. All of that stuff helps you when you actually need it, but it has to be done way before you ever need it if you want to be successful. Let's talk about technology and tools. So there's lots out there. We talked about your lawyer, we talked about your accountant, we talked about credit suppliers, your lenders, bank. They all have tools that you can use. Accessing those tools is important. There's software technology. Whatever it is you can implement in your business technology-wise that can help your team do their job better, not replace a team member, but help your team member do their job better, more efficiently, more accurately. Those are the tools you want to invest in. One example I can give to you is in our world, we created a project cash flow tool. And that project cash flow tool lives on our website that anyone can use for free. Why did we build it? Well, candidly, we built it for ourselves because as we were trying to analyze loans for clients, we needed to understand what the cash flow of the project was so that we could determine how much money someone needed, when they needed it, where they needed it, how it could be repaid. And we also wanted to let them know what the impact of borrowing that money was to their project in terms of cost, but also in terms of their margin percentage. Well, it turns out that building that cash flow tool for us also was a great tool for the construction community. When anybody can benefit from seeing what the construction needs are, the same things that we were looking for. How much cash do you need? When are you going to spend the cash? How much is it? When do you get to be cash flow positive? What's your margin? When can you pay it back? Oh, that's great information. So that cash flow tool is a great tool to implement for clients or people in our network, whether they're a lender, whether they borrow from us or not, to use to understand the project cash flow. It gives them a great chance to see, okay, this is how much money I need. I have plenty of that cash in my line of credit. Or this is how much money I need. I have plenty of that coming in from my accounts receivable. Or this is how much cash I need. Ooh, this is going to be tight. I might need to look at and build my relationship with one of my lenders. Maybe this is the time to go to the bank for the line of credit or come to somebody like us, mobilization funding. Empower yourself to understand this is what you need to do. You have got to get yourself in a spot to be most successful, no matter where you are in the journey. If that means communicating more effectively with your team and internally, great. If that means communicating more effectively with your customers and your general contractor, great. What about your lender, your accountant, your lawyer? Just communicating with them alone on what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, and what skills and opportunities and tools you need to be successful. Ask them. Let them pour into you. But do it differently than you've been doing it so you can have a different result or the best chance at the most positive result that you're seeking, whether it's growing your business, being more profitable, staying the same size but just earning more money, or just starting and trying to figure out what you don't know so you can avoid some of the mistakes. No matter what it is, but change it, implement new ways of doing the things you're doing that for things that aren't working. Most importantly, communicate those out and you'll be surprised what comes back. What I would like you to do now is a favor from me. Please join our movement. Please join our YouTube channel. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow Mobilization Funding, the people in our network that are also pouring out great information, great content to help support all of you. Keep in touch with us. Tag us on your shows or videos, anything that you're putting out on social media. But follow us on our YouTube channel, click subscribe. Follow us on my LinkedIn or Mobilization Funding's LinkedIn and the people that are supporting our network. And all of the tools that are there, the people I've been referring to, they're all there. Access our network, utilize our people, ask us for a favor, we'll make any introduction to anyone you'd like. And we can help you. And most importantly, that type of energy, that type of help permeated throughout the construction industry is exactly how we're going to make the changes we need to make so that everyone can be most successful, from the bank to the owner developer to the general contractor, all the way down to the subcontractors and everywhere in between. I hope you all have a great week. God bless you.